Today, we're diving into some powerful wisdom from Thich Nhat Hanh's book, The Art of Communicating. It really gets to the heart of a strange problem in our modern lives, why so many of us feel disconnected in what's supposed to be the most connected time in all of history.
I mean, think about it. We've got all this technology, right? It's supposed to bring us closer. But for a lot of us, there's this deep, nagging sense of loneliness that just won't go away. Thich Nhat Hanh says this is the great suffering of our time. And it kind of makes you wonder, are we actually connecting, or are we just, firing off bits of information at each other? To help us understand this, the book gives us this really brilliant analogy. Communication is food. Yeah, food. Every single conversation, every news article you read, every time you scroll through your social media feed, you're consuming it. So the real question is, what's your communication diet like? Is it actually nourishing you, or is it kind of toxic? Okay, so nourishing communication. That's the good stuff. It builds us up, helps us understand each other, and it can literally heal our relationships. But toxic communication? Well, that's the junk food of our interactions. It's the gossip, the angry online arguments, the constant judging. It might feel good for a second, but over time, it just poisons our well-being and our connections to other people. So what do? How do we protect ourselves from all that toxic stuff? The answer is mindfulness. I want you to think of mindfulness as your emotional skin. Without it, you're just walking around, totally vulnerable, soaking up all the negativity. But with mindfulness, you build this awareness that lets you hit pause and consciously choose what you let in, what's actually good for you. And this leads us to the book's biggest, most central idea. If you really want to get better at connecting with other people, you have to start by connecting with yourself. That journey inward, it's not some detour. It's actually the only way to unlock real, meaningful communication with the outside world. In a world that is constantly screaming for our attention, the simple act of just stopping is totally transformative. Seriously, taking just a moment to tune out all that noise, to turn your attention inside, and just ask, hey, what's going on in here right now? That's a huge first step. And the goal of this whole inward journey is to find what Thich Nhat Hanh calls home. And now, he's not talking about a physical building. He means that inner place where you feel completely safe and warm and at peace. That's the only place where that deep, painful loneliness can really start to dissolve. So how do you find this path home? Well, the amazing part is, it's not some fancy new app or a complicated technique you have to learn. It's the one tool you have with you every single second of your life, your own breath. The practice itself is so simple. You just gently pay attention to your breath. You're not trying to change it or anything. Breathing in, you just notice, I'm breathing in. Breathing out, you notice, I'm breathing out. Now, your mind is going to wander. Of course it is. That's what minds do. You just gently, without judgment, bring it back. This simple act anchors you, pulling you out of worries about the future or things you regret from the past, and brings you right back home to your body, right here in the present moment. When you can create that centered feeling, you can finally start to just observe your own feelings, the good stuff and the hard stuff, without getting totally swept away by them. And being able to sit with yourself like that, to understand what's happening inside you, that is the absolute bedrock for having any real empathy for anyone else. All right, so once we've started building that connection with ourselves, that solid foundation, then we can start to build real, authentic connections with other people. And to do that, the book gives us two incredibly important skills. These two skills are deep listening and loving speech. And listen, the order here is everything. Listening has to come first. So often we're just listening to figure out what we're going to say next, right? We're so desperate to be understood. The whole game changes when we decide to first offer our understanding to someone else. This just completely flips the script on what it means to listen. It's not about winning an argument anymore. It's not about waiting for your turn to jump in. It becomes a generous act. Your only goal is to create a safe space for another person to be themselves, to feel truly heard, and hopefully to feel a little bit of relief. I mean, just think about that for a second. Imagine going into your next conversation with that as your goal. What do you think would happen if, instead of getting your comeback ready, you just offered the gift of your complete, compassionate attention? It could change everything. Okay, so you've listened. You've really listened. Now the focus shifts, and it's your turn to respond. And to make sure your words are going to heal instead of hurt, Thich Nhat Hanh gives us 4 very clear, very practical elements for what he calls loving speech. First, tell the truth, but always, always do it with kindness. Second, don't exaggerate. We all do it, right? Turning a small problem into a huge drama. Try not to. Third,
Be consistent. Make your words something people can rely on. Don't say one thing to one person and something else to another. And finally, number 4, use peaceful language. This means actively choosing words that don't blame or judge or stir up conflict.
When you practice these 4 things, your words literally become nourishment. You are consciously choosing to say something that can help mend a wound, build trust, and make your relationships deeper, not just with others, but with yourself too.
So in the end, the whole journey to better communication starts right here, inside. Your ability to really truly understand another person is born from having the courage to understand yourself first. The compassion you learn to give yourself is what fills up the well you draw from to be kind to the rest of the world.
In a world that is always pulling our attention outward, maybe the most powerful, most radical act of connection we can make is the one we make internally. To just turn inward for a moment, follow our breath, and find our way home.